Which African country was never colonized? You've heard this one. Quiz night, easy points. And you know the answer, Ethiopia. If you're good, you know there are two, Ethiopia and Liberia. You're right, both times. And both answers are traps. That's what this video's about. We went and read both copies of the treaty that starts this story. That's where it falls apart. Because two countries escaped only means something if you know what they escaped from. In 1870, Europe controlled about 1/10 of Africa, mostly coastline, trading posts. By 1914, it controlled about 90%. 44 years, a continent 3 times the size of Europe, taken inside one human lifetime. The carve-up was formalized in Berlin over the winter of 1884 and 1885 in a room with no Africans in it. Everything on the map except 2 dots. But before we get to those 2 dots, hold on to one idea, the whole video turns on it. A colony was never really about the flag. Underneath every flag sat the same machine. Land taken, labor forced, a line drawn through a people, and power nobody underneath could remove. 4 parts, watch for them, because the 2 countries that kept the flag out did not keep the machine out. Let's start with the part that is completely, gloriously true. 1889, Ethiopia and Italy sign a treaty at a place called Wuchale. It's written twice, one copy in Amharic, one in Italian. Article 17. The Amharic version says Ethiopia may use Italy to deal with other foreign powers. Optional. The Italian version says must. One verb, and on the strength of that one verb, Italy informs Europe that Ethiopia is now an Italian protectorate. Menelik reads both copies and tears the treaty up. So the army marching into those mountains isn't coming to conquer a country. It's coming to enforce a translation. So how does that army end up destroyed in a single day? Because standing next to Menelik is his wife, the Empress Taytu. January 1896, Italians are dug into a fort at Mekelle. Taytu's advice, don't storm it, cut the water. 10 days later, the fort surrenders. She ran the spy network too, which is how Menelik knew where the Italians were and got to choose the ground. He chose Adwa, and at Adwa, Taytu commanded 5,000 of her own. The 1st of March, 1896, a town in northern Ethiopia called Adwa, an Italian army marches in expecting the usual arrangement. Rifles meet spears, Europe draws another border. Waiting for them is an Ethiopian army of around 100,000 under Emperor Menelik II. The Italians have about 14,500. By the end of the day, the Italian force is destroyed. This is the only time in modern history an African state met a European army in a full-scale battle and stopped a conquest dead. And the news traveled. To Black communities across the Americas and the Caribbean, Adwa became proof, not hope, proof. So no, this is not a myth we're about to take away from you. Adwa happened, and it is one of the great days. Now the trap. 1936, the Italians come back, this time with aircraft and with chemical weapons dropped on villages. Ethiopia falls. It is occupied for 5 years. Britain and France formally recognize Italian control. On paper, for half a decade, Ethiopia is somebody's possession. It's freed in 1941. Italy never managed to build a working colonial administration there. Ethiopia never signed its sovereignty away. Resistance never stopped, and the emperor came back. Historians land on this. 5 years of military occupation, not a colony. Hold that thought, because Ethiopia's story has a second half and it is much bigger. Go back to Menelik, the man who won Adwa. So what was he doing before the Italians arrived? Expanding. From the 1870s, out from the Central Highlands, south and east and west. Conquering Oromo lands, Sidama, Garaj, Waleta, doubling the size of the state. And in the conquered south, a system gets installed with a name, the neftenya, gun carrier, armed settler. Settlers are placed on conquered land in military colonies. Each is assigned local farmers, gabbar, who work his land and hand over his share. There it is, part 1, land taken. Not employees, not tenants who can leave, serfs. Part 2, labor forced. Indirect rule, divide the locals by the local chief. Settler interests first. That system financed the South for half a century. And here is the year that should stay with you, 1941. The same year Ethiopia was liberated from Italian occupation, the restored emperor issued decrees against slavery and against the gabbar obligations. So it threw off somebody else's empire and outlawed its own in the same 12 months. Except the decrees changed the name. The land underneath them did not move for another 30 years. This is not ancient history, by the way. Land taken in those decades is still argued about in Ethiopia today. It is one of the live fault lines in the country. Now Liberia, the one place European empire never touched, founded by people who had escaped slavery. So ask yourself who ended up at the bottom of that country. You will get it wrong. It was founded in the 1820s as a place to resettle free and formerly enslaved Black Americans. It declared independence in 1847. So, the one country on the continent that European empire never touched, run by Black settlers. What happens? They become the aristocracy. The indigenous majority, the people already living there, are simply outside it, excluded from citizenship in their own country until 1904. Part 3, a line drawn through a people. Let that sit. In the African Republic founded by escaped slaves, the Africans were not citizens for over 80 years. That arrangement ran for 133 years. It ended in 1980 with a coup. And Part 4, power nobody underneath could remove. And the extraction, the thing colonies were built for. 1926, Liberia signs a deal with an American tire company. Up to 1 million acres, roughly a tenth of the country's usable farmland. For 99 years at 6 cents an acre. 4 years later, an international commission investigates. Its finding, the Liberian government itself was complicit in organized forced labor, including shipping workers off to plantations on another island. Not a European power doing it, the Republic doing it to the people it governed. It got the machine without the flag. So keep score. Liberia, not one European flag, all 4 parts of the machine. Ethiopia, not one European flag either, and it built 2 of the parts itself. So did escaping colonization help? Take Liberia first because it's the blunt answer. No. And the coup didn't dismantle the 2-tier country, it flipped which tier was on top. What followed was 14 years of civil war in 2 rounds. A capital under siege. A president who ended up convicted of war crimes for another country's war. The first head of state and international court had convicted since Nuremberg. Never colonized did not translate into better off, not remotely. Famine, a military dictatorship, wars, and then 15 straight years, 2004 to 2019, of growth close to 10%, one of the fastest on Earth. Then conflict tore much of it back. So there's no clean verdict here, and anyone selling you one is selling you something. Before the payoff, 3 things I'm not saying. 1, I'm not saying colonization was fine. Colonized countries carry damage these 2 never took. Borders drawn by strangers, languages replaced, wealth shipped out for a century. 2, I'm not saying the Liberian settlers were villains. They were refugees from American slavery, arriving with nothing. And then they built a country that locked the native majority out for over a century. People who had been owned became a ruling class over people who weren't them. That's the tragedy. Not a cartoon with villains, a mirror. 3, I'm not taking Adwa off you. It stays. 100,000 people stopped an empire, and the whole Black world heard about it. The point isn't that these 2 were secretly as bad. It's that the flag was never the machine. The flag was only ever the label someone stuck on it. Land taken, labor forced, a line drawn through a population. These people count, those people don't. That's the machine, the flag was just the label on it. Ethiopia kept the flag out and built the machine itself in the south. Liberia kept the flag out and imported the machine from the people who had used it on them. And there's a third case, the one that covers everybody else. In the 1960s, the flags came down right across Africa. New flags went up. Independence. The machine mostly stayed. The same land in the same hands, the same labor, the same power with no way to take it back. The label changed on nearly 50 countries at once. The thing underneath did not. There's a name for that, and it came from inside the story. In 1965, Kwame Nkrumah, Ghana's first president, called it neocolonialism. The flag comes down, the dependence stays. It's a true word. It is also too small for this one. Nobody imposed the neftenya on Ethiopia. Nobody imposed the citizenship line on Monrovia. The Congo Free State had a flag, an anthem, and recognition from that table in Berlin, and it was one man's private property. A Belgian king owned it personally. A flag standing for no nation at all. The label lies in both directions. So the question, which African country was never colonized, is the wrong question. It's asking about the label. The better question is the one almost nobody asks. Which African country ever dismantled the machine? One of them finally did. In 1975, a revolution in Ethiopia abolished the whole southern land system. The settlers' claims, the tenancy, all of it. 34 years after the decrees that were supposed to. It took a revolution, not a decree. That is how heavy the machine is once you have built it. And that is a bigger story than the one you came in with, not a smaller one. It means the history has people in it who chose, not only people it happened to. And you answer that one the same way you answer it anywhere, not by checking whose flag flies over the palace, by asking whether the people inside can remove the man in it. Like, comment, share, join us at Kemet Leads and set your notifications so that you never stop asking who can take it back. And join the discussion on the leaders shaping Africa and its diaspora.